I think we're ready here. Alright. So, this is a submission vid for Rocket Knight Adventures, and it will be done on easy mode. I am Dagrin, and I currently hold the record for this category. And we'll get started here in 3, 2, 1. So, the first big thing, we control a possum that has a sword. And every time we throw out the sword, it comes with a projectile. But the main thing is, he has a rocket boost, which allows us for some crazy movement, as you can see here. But there are two different types of rocket boosts. There's the aerial rocket boost, which allows us more time for invincibility frames. And then there's the grounded one, the grounded boost, which, if we continue to jump, it allows us to keep our momentum, our movement speed, which is pretty much the main tech involved with in the speed run. So this first fight, we just want to time our projectile hits. That was alright. But that was phase 1. Now phase 2, I want to stay perpendicular to the middle of my health bar. Call him out. And get a good kill like that. So that was perfect. So here's our first auto-scroller. There are many in this game. A good place for donations. But getting back to the aerial boosts in particular, after the end of each boost, you'll notice that Sparkster, the possum I'm controlling as, he'll go into a panic state. He's actually invincible during this until he lands on the ground. And that is some abusing of iframes to quick kill him. Sadly, the dragon decided to leave the screen very late. But still, pretty solid outing so far. Now, this section here is probably the hardest part to do properly, but we did it. And largely that's because of the janky design of the castle. You just see... well, actually, this particular part, you won't get a good chance to see it, but the rocket boost is pretty susceptible to having you bounce off into different directions than where you actually want to go. And hopefully this next room after this one shows that. If not, then it's a perfect room, and that's pretty lucky. Yep, there you go. So I ended up having a pretty bad bounce off there. There we go. The rest of it was done pretty well, though. There's my favorite enemy of the game. Look at that smile. He's so happy. He tries so hard, but you just walk right under him. And that's really all you have to do with him. Now this fight, this is the main boss of stage 1. Not really much to him, just make sure you get the hits on him. That's really all there is to it. If you don't get the hits, if you miss too many hits, you'll end up chilling out in the middle there and throwing out all of these small little guys. And waste about 20 to 25 seconds. It's pretty bad. Pretty bad news. But that's stage 1, probably the most technical stage in the entire game. Now stage 2 is more about boss fights. Wow, that was bad. Oh, really? Okay, wow. That was a really bad fight. That was a really bad fight. You could hit him earlier, but then I started doing there, but it will lead to no damage, so... Where I started hitting him was the earliest possible time, when he's throwing his arms down like that. Now, as for this fight... Oh, we missed the quick kill. I have a setup for it. That's the backup right there. Unfortunately, we did not get the proper quick kill there. My slashes were not optimal. But I do have a pretty consistent setup for that fight. And as for this room, shoutouts to Vorpal for really piecing together the strats for that room. As well as this A-frame save by just rocket boosting on that ceiling and onto that minecart. So, this auto-scroller is pretty long. Another perfect place for donations. Really all I can add is that the pigs on the left side have a bit of an issue. They can't seem to actually hit me if I just stand still. Oh, as a result, I keep forgetting about that pig. But, yeah. I guess I'll probably talk about a particular jump coming up here. But this jump is pretty scary. If you miss it, you start the entire auto-scroller from the very beginning. It's a huge time loss. I didn't wait long enough for the rocket boost to charge to unleash it. So, unfortunately, small little time loss, but no big deal. We didn't die, that's the most important thing. Now we're at the end of the auto-scroller. We just have to kind of wait things out here. But we want to kill these guys as soon as we can, from this distance relatively, because if you allow them to get too far, they start lagging the game slightly, just slightly. Just a few frames you lose for it. Also chickens, because why not? Alright, here's the next boss. Hopefully you got the sweet spot. Very nice. So, we got the sweet spot where we don't get hit by the train nor its bullet. So, that was really good. Fortunately, I missed that boost, which could cost me a little bit. But this is... If it costs me, it's going to cost me very minimal time because the train still has to get over to the side and leave before we advance to the next part. And as for this phase, we damage boost to the back, into his hitbox, and finish him off like that. Pretty simple, a little bit scary, but that's kind of how you have to do that. Well, you don't have to do it that way. I just prefer doing it that way because it's a little more consistent. I have a tendency to run into the train the actual other way. Now, as for stage 3, this room is scary, pretty laggy too, so it can eat my inputs, and this lava kills me in a single hit. But it looks like we're gonna get through it. And as for this screen, if you do it the same exact way, the fishes always spawn in the same locations. So really, just keep it simple. That's really all there is to this screen. And take a damage boost here, and then ground boost there, and that allows the screen to scroll down as quickly as possible. Now, as for this fight, we want to kill this right claw here. It drops down the health of this boss. Oh, we missed our... Oh, we're missing a lot here. And then we just proceed to hit his head here. And you can see I'm missing some of these, and that's because it's hitting the shoulder instead of the head. Oh. Unfortunately, we couldn't prevent that claw from snapping at me, so that was a pretty bad fight. Which basically means, yay, time loss. Alright, well, we're on to yet another auto-scroller, another good place for donations, especially since I've explained how that previous fight works. But again, this is, I guess I should probably now explain. What I'm kind of doing here is I'm taking intentional hits to these bats to drain my health down to half a heart. And the reason I do that... And the reason I do that is because... after each level, the health counts down. So the less health you have at the end of each level, the faster you progress past the results screen. And as for this fight, just kind of a weird concept by choice. You'll find out why when you see the weak point. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to grab this banana, and then I'm going to get hit by the next fireball. Goes back. I might be too close. Okay, nope. You can see just for some odd reason, a pig jumps out of the fish's mouth, and we just one-cycle him with 5 swipes of the sword, and he dies. So that's level 3. Now, level 4 Level 4 is probably the scariest level in the entire game. Probably the easiest level to actually lose your run at. But to start things off, we have this fight, and he's pretty much random, but there are two consistent things about him. For starters, he always starts with a 2-throw of bombs, and after he recovers from hit stun, he will always throw a bomb in response. And that's how you set up the juggle like that. So that was a pretty good fight. Now as for this section, the barrels are always the same exact pattern. And so by doing the same exact thing, you get the same exact results like that. So that's that part. Now we're on to probably the scariest part in a marathon setting. This fight, you see, this guy kind of chills out at the bottom of the screen, and you can't hit him with anything other than rocket boosts. Oh, okay, that's fine, that's fine. Rather take that hit. Instead, we'll finish him off like that. Slow fight, but I'll take it in a marathon setting any day. Any day. Oh, I missed the bus boost. Okay, that was very unfortunate. So now we have to do that fight again. And hopefully we don't die again. So I guess this time I'm going to do it the safe way, but you got an idea of how to do it the fast way, at least. Alright. There we go. Alright, this time. And that's how you do it the safe way. So, kind of unfortunate how I died there, but you know what happens. I went for it. That was the Vorpal strat for that swinging platform section. You can see why it's extremely risky. You could just go straight over the entrance like I did there. So, I guess for the sake of marathon safe strats, we're not going to drain our health down to half a heart, because this is probably the most likely place I could die if I try that. We kill this guy. And then this guy's going to kind of run around a little bit. That was a good fight. So you can see it's pretty risky trying to get yourself down to half a heart there, because getting hit by the little guy does 2 hearts of damage, and you can very easily die to that fight as a result. Kind of an unfortunate time loss, but that's why that's a very heavy reset point, that particular section right there. So now we're on to stage 5, and this is, if you weren't convinced there were a lot of auto-scrolls in this game, this level is going to make you understand that extremely well. But I guess, I mean, this is a perfect place for donations for a while, but I guess the one thing I can explain is that time saves and time losses in auto-scrollers is pretty interesting. Depending on how you handle certain sections, allows the auto-scroller to advance faster than normal. This time I made it advance pretty quickly, and I swear it probably had something to do with me delaying a hit on that one pig on the balloon there that you saw on screen for quite a bit of time. So, now we're on to this fight. We're going to take an intentional hit, abuse some iframes, try and maximize some damage here. That was a really good fight. And hopefully we have an equally good round here, because he's going to show up again. So if this guy gives you Gradius vibes, you are not alone. You are not alone. Alright, now we're into the Pig King's Castle. These guys here that I'm racing, they kill you in one hit. Does not matter what difficulty you are on. They kill you in one hit. That was a terrible time to do a boost. And And this time they're actually going to be chasing right behind me. But they will not catch me, because Sparkster is too fast. Plus, you know, gotta go fast. So, once again, another auto-scroller. Not much to really say, other than Vorpal came up with some strats for this particular room. But you can actually rocket boost kind of like that. It looks a little bit awkward, but you can get in there. You can squeeze in there. Saves a little bit of time right at the end. Kind of just showing off for now. The important one is this one right up here. There we go. That wasn't the best it could be. But yeah, that's all there is to that. And once again, we're back to more auto-scroller goodness. But the best is yet to come. This is my favorite. This one probably takes about a minute, I think. And sadly, if you get hit by anything here, you die. Kind of like how the mechanical pigs, as subsequently the chase. I should probably raise this up so I don't get hit by these flashing spikes. These are the things that can kill me in one hit. Which is kind of a scary thing, because the last part I'm gonna do something that's slightly risky. But I will do it in the name of speed. You could also go for that one up there, but I'm not that ballsy. Sorry, guys. We do not swag to that extent in this game. Alright, we're coming up to the end of this. Get over here. Nice. So that was the risky part there. And now we're on to the boss. So there's Axel. He's on a mechanical pig, and he's going to try to chase me down. He does kill me in one hit as well. That was really bad, but should be fine. He won't catch me. As long as I do everything exactly as normal, I should make it through this pretty easily. That was a good section. So, this fight, what I'm going to do is go for a trade with Axel on right after the on the 6th day here. So we're gonna go for a trade. Nice. All right. And doing that allows him to not run away a second time. And that was pretty much how you got to do that fight. That's the optimal way of doing that fight, I find anyway. There are other ways to prevent him running away a second time, but it's a lot more tricky, and it's one that I will not understand. Probably one better to ask Vorpal. So now we're out of the auto-scroller hell that is stage 5, and now we're in stage 6, yet another auto-scroller. But this time, it's a shorter one, and a lot more fun in my opinion. A lot more speed strats actually involved with this one. I want to try and bat away these missiles. And I want to try and not be dealing with those too much. I want to also try not to take too much damage. Wow, that was really good. I couldn't get all the apples. Actually, that was really bad. Wow. Ooh, almost messed that quick kill up. When he has the shield out, he's invincible. And as for this part, you could again, this is another fight that Axel here, you could hit him while he's doing that whole laser thing, but again, you can't really do any damage to him. I need some health big time here. Nope. They're not going to give me health. Alright, so this is a pretty scary situation. I should technically take a death abuse here and start with full health, but we're going to play it a little bit risky since we've already had one significant death happen in this run. But this ship, touching it does 4 hearts of damage. So in this situation with my health, it will kill me in one hit. Thankfully, though, we have the bullets to abuse iframes off of. And hopefully we can get a quick kill out of it, but chances are not likely. Not likely. Alright, that's the first part. Yep, nope. Had to take it safe here. Kind of unfortunate, but I had to take it safe. The health, unfortunately, did not allow me to do it. So, unfortunately, this is going to be a pretty wretched time loss. And, I mean, I tried my best. I did bat away the meteors, but unfortunately the game decided not to be kind to me. So that entire ship part was the first phase. This is the second phase, and it's pretty much the same exact thing for 4 phases in a row. You have to hit them 4 times. And, yeah. You can see that orange thing that was bouncing around, that's the weak point that you gotta go for. You gotta hit them 4 times. You gotta hit that part 4 times. I'm not going to take another hit because I'm not sure how much damage I actually took there. Wasn't quite paying attention. But yeah, that's pretty much the speed tech of this particular phase. Try and call out when the weak point shows itself. That's really all you can do. Just dodge all the hazards. Should be the last one? Yep. So he came out unscathed. It's kind of unfortunate how that all ended, but it was still an alright stage, given the risks I took there. But now we have a break from auto-scrollers, thankfully. Now we're on to stage 7, the last stage of the game, and this is basically one giant boss rush. Starting off with this guy, our good friend the Pig King. Now I'm going to try for a super slide. Oh, I didn't make the call out. What I tried to do was super slide so that I would slide to this section here and bait this guy to jump to the left side and then try to meet him up at the middle so that he wouldn't slide for really a long time. And I push him over past the wall there so that I can actually prevent his limb extension attack to end it off. So all in all, that wasn't too bad of a fight. Could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot better. Now we're on to Axel, and this is a very interesting fight. This first phase, shoutouts to Dracodan, he found a really interesting setup. But we can stun lock Axel, and each of these hits is a 2-frame window to lock him down. Okay, that's fine. 4 heart finish is actually alright. That's usually the norm standard. I'm perfectly okay with that in a marathon setting. You can get better. As for the second phase, do enough damage and then boost down and you'll tag him as he comes down there. That's the optimal phase 2. We move down to manipulate the camera, allow ourselves to ricochet like that, and force him to move into us, and then we kill him. Like that in phase 3. And that's the Axel fight. Very interesting fight. And so next is the Hell Room, and this is probably the hardest room in the game. These guys do 2 hearts of damage, so very close to death if they do hit me. We got out though. Very nice. And that was an optimal room right there. So that room was the first introduction to the high gravity, and it is once again an introduction to a feature found in this fight, which is the final fight in the game. Phase 1 is pretty trolly, but we got out of it just fine. So not much to really say on this fight. It's really just the same patterns. We kind of have to wait here. Kind of just introducing what his attacks are. But eventually he will show his weak point up, and we'll kind of somewhat describe how we do it. Alright, so here we're going to jump over him, lure the attacks, and force the weak point to show up there. And we do that for about 4 more times, I think. And then he'll be forced into a different phase, which in my opinion is the hardest one of the bunch, and the one that I'm going to require to focus the most on. I have a strat for it, via counting strats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's how I do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be that phase. And as for this last phase, it's the same weak point every time. As long as you stand in the right position, the weak spot will show up in the same spot. And that's the fight. So overall, not a bad outing. It could have been better, but it could have been a lot worse. But sadly, it is not over yet. It's not time yet. We have to go through one final auto-scroller to finish it off. Our good old friends, our good old auto-scrollers. Because unfortunately, you still have full control of Sparkster in it, and you can still die in that auto-scroller. And so long as those factors remain, time will not be up yet. But fun fact, if you die on this fight, you get sent to the very first fight with this guy again. Very, very unkind. Very unkind. But I guess, since there's really nothing much more to talk about, I mean, this is a good place for donations, but since this is just a submission vid, I want to thank my good friends in the Rocket Knight community, Draco Dan, Vorpal, Sonic Star, as well as Shadow Jackie. Without their help, this record for this game would not be where it is today. I certainly would not have a run nearly as good for my PB as it is right now without their help. So, big shout-outs to those guys. But now, we are at the end of the road. This guy's going to show up one final time. He's going to explode into a whole bunch of pieces. And that is going to be the end of the run. Once the screen fades to white. Nice. A gold split to end it all. A 7:55 too. That is only 5 seconds slower than Shadow Jackie's PB. And merely 11 seconds slower than what the record used to be a few months ago. So a lot of work's been done on this game in recent times, and partly that was due to me showing up in the scene, coming in with a time to beat the old record, even with a death in Hell. It was and then the rest is history. It's been a constant push to get down to sub 27, which no longer is just a dream, but a matter of when at this point. But yeah, that is Rocket Knight Adventures. I am Dagrin, the world record holder for this category in this game, and I just wish to see Rocket Knight return. And that's it. You all have a good one.